So let's look at some of the laws. The 7 laws of wealth is a methodology, if you will, of distinctions and ideas that I have seen that have worked for me, and I have seen really successful people utilize in their businesses. And the first law is this: gain control. Promote self-leadership and initiative. Gain control, promote self-leadership and initiative. Reputation, distinction, and power will always result. Now, what do I mean by that? This isn't leadership, power over people. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about self-leadership. My ability to get myself to do what needs to be done. And in reality, most people are just simply too lazy to do that. Kind of, they know what they should do, and even if they don't know, they're not really willing to do what it takes. And for me, when I was 24 years old, I was sulking about the situation that I'd created for myself, and it took me about 6 months to realize the only person that's going to change this situation, Ben, is you. After complaining and blaming everyone else, it was me. And in that moment, I had a really important thought, and it was this: Ben, if I want things to change, I'm going to have to change. If I want things to be different, I'm going to have to do things different. And if I really want to step up, I'm going to have to step up. And so you need to ask yourself that question: am I really willing to do what it takes? Being able to step up is to understand some key principles of what we can control versus what we can't control. And I'm going to get some participation, hopefully, from you guys. What I'm going to do is suggest for a moment that this room is what we would call our control model. In fact, in your notes, on the right-hand side, if you kind of draw a line across, let me do it for you so you can see it. If you draw a line across the page, this side, write no control. This side, write total control. Now, we're not talking about controlling other people. We're talking about controlling you, about the kinds of things that you're doing on a daily basis to build a business that you can be proud of. So this side of the room, let's suggest for a moment that this side of the room represents stuff, events, things over which you have absolutely no control on a daily basis. Give me some examples of stuff over which you have no control. Do we need a mic? Do we need a mic for this, or can you shout it? Shout it. Okay. Give me some examples of stuff over which you have absolutely no control. Over here.
Currency fluctuations.
Currency fluctuations. Not a lot of control. Very relevant for these times. Good. What else?
Natural disasters.
Natural disasters. Not a lot of control there. Good. Any others? Politics. I'm not going to touch that one with a 10-foot pole, but he's right, isn't he? Politics. We have no control over what the government chooses to do individually. What else? Other people. There's a good one. Other people. I remember asking this question, and a guy said, my wife. And he's not far wrong, is he? It's other people. Can we control other people? No. Great short-term strategy. Can we impact people? Yeah. Can we influence? Yeah. But that's not total control. Okay? So give me some other words, some from perhaps this side. Give me some other words to describe things over which you have no control. Give me some more. The weather. All right, there's another one. In England, we spend a lot of time talking about that one, don't we? We have no control over what the weather decides to do or not do. What else?
Illness.
Again? Illness. Okay, there's another one. Maybe if it's hereditary, perhaps. Not a lot of control over that. Certain health things, perhaps, that we can do in terms of maintenance, but generally speaking, not a lot of control there. Give me some words to describe how you feel inside when you're up against this side of the room. You're out of control. How do you feel?
Nervous.
Nervous. Thank you. What else?
Anxious.
Anxious. Any other words? Scared. Apprehensive. Uncomfortable. Are we describing good feelings on this side of the room? No. What's the self-esteem factor over here? Generally speaking, it's pretty low, right? But is there much sense in getting upset over an event that I have no control? No. But do we? Yes. We spend a fair amount of time worrying about stuff over which we have no control. Don't we? I grew up in Texas for a few years, and I used to go down to a little place called Galveston Bay, and I had a few friends, and they would dare me to jump in and swim the width of this little area. It was probably about half a mile across, and I never swam properly. I'd kind of passed my 10-meter certificate, and that was it. But because they were my friends, and the peer pressure was so strong, they said jump in and swim the width of it. So I did one day, because if I got to the other end, it meant that I would be in their gang. So I jumped in and started to swim across. Halfway across, I thought I was going to drown. How many of you have ever been in that situation where you think you're going to drown? A few people in the room, I can see the hands. Not a nice place to be. Out of control, right? Completely out of control experience. About 150 meters away from me, I saw a fin gliding through the water. It was not coming towards me, but I saw a fin gliding through the water. The need to get to the other side went absolutely crazy. And funnily enough, I got to the other side. Why? Well, I learned an interesting lesson that day. It's okay to drown. It is not okay to get eaten. Is it? And I made it to the other side. Why? Because of this principle, and write this down. When the need is big enough, you learn to control all kinds of stuff that you hook yourself into believing you can't control. Let me say that again. When the need is big enough, you'll learn to control all kinds of stuff or events that you believe you can't control. Next time you go to the circus, go outside and have a look at where the fully grown elephants are kept. You'll notice an interesting lesson. Those fully grown elephants are tied with a piece of rope around one of their back legs. That rope is attached to a stake, 3 or 4 foot driven in the ground. You look at that elephant and you look at the stake and say, you know, if that thing wanted to kick it and go home, it could, but it doesn't. Why? It doesn't think it can. And the reason it doesn't think it can is that when it was a baby, they put a steel clamp around that back leg, which was attached to a chain. For 3 weeks, never more than 4 weeks, the elephant fights that thing in a frenzy trying to get away. And then after 3 weeks, it stops trying, right? Well, whenever I'm hooked up, I can't get away. So literally now I can put a wet noodle around that elephant. It's not going to try and get away. Why? It doesn't think it can. And we're kind of the same way. So recognize, number one, there are a number of things over which we have absolutely no control. Let's not spend any time really worrying about those things. Let's go to this side of the room and give me some examples of things over which you have absolute, total, complete control. Let me say it again. Absolute, total, complete control. I wish you could see your faces. It's like, Ben, I don't think I can control anything. Give me some examples. What do you have control over? All right? Yourself. And that's the whole reason why you come to events like this, right? To understand how I can get control of me. Good response. Give me another one. Your time. How I choose to use my time. How I choose to do the things that I'm supposed to do or that I want to do. What else? Reactions. Good. Yeah, exactly. That's a really good one, isn't it? It's a reactions to certain situations. And here's an interesting question. Do you react or do you respond? See, reaction is something that you do because someone else has acted. Responding is more proactive.